Orcas, or killer whales, are large aquatic mammals that live in every ocean of planet Earth. These whales can live for 50 to 90 years and live in social groups called pods that can range from 5 to 30 members. It's possible that pods can combine and have a population of over 100 orcas, but this isn't the most common way for them to live. The male orcas can reach 27 feet or 8.2 meters in length, whilst the females can reach 23 feet or 7 meters in length. Are these animals big brutes? Or are they gentle giants? How do they hunt? And are they really as intelligent as we think they are? Scientists actually believe orcas to be highly intelligent creatures. What does it mean to be intelligent, though? We can't ask orcas to sit down and take an IQ test, although it is believed that adult orcas have the same IQ as a 15 to 16-year-old human. Scientists have multiple ways of testing animal intelligence. Gone are the days when we assumed that animals were just machines acting on instinct. Now, we know that animals can do incredible things, some of which we may not understand, but that doesn't make them any less intelligent. Let's start with something that we humans learned to do fairly early on: communication. Can orcas communicate? Yes. Not only that, they can learn the animal equivalent of foreign languages. Whilst they can't learn the ABCs, they can tell each other about threats, food, and more through a combination of clicks, squeaks, calls, and screams. Each pod can make its own distinctive noises, so they always know who they're communicating with. It's not clear to scientists if this language has grammar, but that doesn't make it any less a language. These clicks and squeaks are also how they can communicate with dolphins, who use similar noises to communicate with each other. Orcas are also able to remember English phrases like hello and bye-bye. Some scientists even manage to get orcas to mimic human speech, although they probably don't understand the words they're saying.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Orcas are also capable of non-verbal communication through body language, biting, headbutts, and slapping their fins. This communication is imperative to orcas' social success. These are socially intelligent creatures capable of altruism, helping another creature, possibly at the expense of their own resources. This social intelligence extends into having a theory of mind, the ability to understand that other creatures have information you don't, and is sometimes even called empathy. They understand that others in their pod have emotions or thoughts of their own. This means they can work together to get each orca in the pod what they need and keep the group alive, allowing them to be altruistic to each other. Do they understand themselves, though? They do. Scientists can perform something called the mirror test, which is a test of self-recognition. If you put a mirror in front of an animal and then a mark on their face, and they recognize that the mark is on them or tries to get it off, then they pass the test. Some animals, like dogs, need an adapted version of this test. Humans don't pass this test until we are roughly 2 years old. Orcas are one of a select group of animals that regularly pass this test, showing another aspect of intelligence. Not only can orcas recognize themselves, though, but they can also learn to recognize human faces and voices, as well as the faces and calls of those of their own species. Orcas are also proficient at using tools for a combination of things, but mostly hunting. For starters, like dolphins, when foraging on the ocean floor, they will use sea sponges to protect their noses from damage. If, whilst down there, they find a fish, they may go to the surface with said fish to lure seagulls to their location and snatch them out of the air. They will also work together to use tools and problem solve by creating waves to knock seals off of ice and into the water, where the pod can then hunt for them without issue, or even go so far as using their tails as weapons against seals or other animals when they're hunting. Let's go on the hunt with a pod of these intelligent creatures. Let's start with a small pod that has 3 adults and 2 calves, babies. For an animal that is over 20 feet in length, you wouldn't think that their first choice of hunting tactics would be to sneak up on their prey, but you would be wrong. It's much easier for lone fish if the pod can sneak up on them and eat them before they've even been noticed. This means they will have more energy for larger hunts later. Let's go to a larger pod with 5 adults and 3 calves. They've got their eyes on a school of king salmon. There's too many fish for them to quietly sneak up and eat them though. So what is the next option? The orcas spread out around the salmon and start herding them to where they want the fish to be. It may be that the orcas huddle the fish into a ball and start eating them whilst they're disoriented. Or they might find a cliff or sea shelf and push the fish into a corner and eat them from there. If they are near enough to land, they may instead choose to herd the fish towards the shore and force them onto land, where they will suffocate the fish before eating them. As mentioned before, the pod may work together to hunt seals by making waves and pushing the seals off of the ice and into the water. But there is another way that they hunt prey. And that is throwing it up into the air. That's right, orcas have the ability to toss prey as heavy as 300 kilograms, or 662 pounds, up into the air. The prey will land back on the water, the force of which will either stun or kill them, which is when the orcas will eat them. Each pod will have its own ways of hunting and foraging, which are passed down from mother to calf and into the generations beyond. This means that calves become skilled at foraging and hunting the food of the region that they're in, making orcas a vital part of the food chain for controlling the population of local fish. Even so, some hunts have become harder for orcas due to human overfishing or because of pollution. Meaning that in some parts of the world, they are considered endangered, although it's not clear if they are endangered everywhere. If we're not careful, we could be in danger of losing one of the most intelligent creatures in our oceans. Orcas are both skilled hunters and compassionate, intelligent beings. Riding this line has allowed the success of their species and maybe indicates that there is more to this animal than meets the eye. They are fearsome hunters, although maybe they don't always deserve the name killer whale. There will always be a debate as to whether we should be allowed to keep animals like this in captivity, watching their behavior for our own amusement, or in small enclosures for scientific study. Whilst orcas are adaptable, we may not always be fair to them in the way we should be. At the same time, we may not be able to study and understand them in such a deep way if we didn't have the animals in captivity. Whatever the answer to that question, we all know that these animals are socially intelligent and mentally intelligent, and giving them the respect they deserve is a must, whether they are in captivity or out in the big blue sea. For more videos on orcas and their stories, check out our other videos. If you'd like to learn more about the orca's neighbor, the dolphin, look at our story about dolphin survival.